Imagine a nation paralyzed for over a month, with essential services teetering on the edge and families feeling the financial pinch. That's the reality of the longest government shutdown in American history. But here's where it gets intriguing. As a potential resolution inches closer, we're seeing political maneuverings that could redefine accountability in Washington. Stick around to uncover the twists, from emergency funding to lawsuits over data privacy. And let's explore how this drama unfolds. And this is the part most people miss, the human stories behind the headlines, like air traffic controllers juggling bills and dreams deferred. Government shutdown live updates. Funding bill advances to House following Senate approval live by Stephen Beckett, Managing Editor, Digital Politics. https www.cbsnews.com. Stephen Beckett serves as the managing editor for politics at cbsnews.com. With over a decade of experience covering national politics, he leads a team that dives deep into the White House, Congress, the Supreme Court, immigration, and federal law enforcement. Read full bio. https www.cbsnews.com/Stephen Beckett /www.cbsnews.com/Stephen Beckett. Caitlin Yillick, politics reporter, https www.cbsnews.com. Caitlin Yillick is a politics reporter for cbsnews.com, stationed in Washington, D.C. Her previous roles include work at the Washington Examiner and The Hill, plus participation in the 2022 Paul Miller Washington Reporting Fellowship through the National Press Foundation. Read full bio at www.cbsnews.com/team/Caitlin Yillick. Updated on November 11, 2025, 4:20 p.m. EST. CBS News key insights on day 42 of the government shutdown. A funding proposal aimed at halting the longest government shutdown ever recorded in the U.S. is now moving to the House for a conclusive vote, potentially as early as Wednesday. This follows its approval by the Senate in a 60-40 tally on Monday, marking a significant step toward resolving the deadlock. For newcomers to political jargon, a government shutdown occurs when Congress fails to pass appropriations bills, meaning many federal agencies halt operations and employees may not get paid, impacting everything from air traffic control to veterans services. House Speaker Mike Johnson urged lawmakers to resume their duties promptly on Monday, anticipating widespread travel disruptions caused by recent airport congestion nationwide. Both the House and Senate will remain out of session on Tuesday in observance of Veterans Day. The proposed legislation would maintain funding for most federal agencies through January 30th, incorporating full-year budgets for select government sectors. House Republicans express optimism about its passage in the lower chamber, with President Trump poised to endorse it, thereby concluding the shutdown. Airlines are preparing to cancel approximately 6% of flights at 40 of the country's busiest airports on Tuesday, adhering to directives from the Federal Aviation Administration. This represents a slight escalation from prior 4% reductions. To put this in perspective, these cancellations could mean delays for thousands of travelers, underscoring how a funding gap ripples into everyday life. Imagine being stranded at an airport because controllers can't work without pay. 3:29 p.m., House Rules Committee scheduled to review funding bill at 6:30 p.m. The House Rules Committee is set to examine the funding bill starting at 6:30 p.m., as confirmed by a spokesperson. This committee serves as the final checkpoint for most bills before they reach the full House floor for debate and voting. 1:55 p.m., Democrat Adelita Grijalva set for swearing in upon House reconvening Wednesday. Democrat Adelita Grijalva is slated to take her oath as a U.S. representative on Wednesday when the House resumes operations, over 7 weeks after securing victory in a special election in Arizona. House Speaker Mike Johnson revealed in a Monday evening CNN interview, https://2025-1110 politics video / House Speaker Mike Johnson GOP Donald Trump shut down healthcare subsidies enrollment insurance Jake Tapper lead that Grijalva will receive her oath of office right after the House convenes, prior to any votes on the funding measure to restart government functions. The House anticipates commencing votes on the package around 4 p.m. Wednesday. After enduring 7 weeks of anticipation, it's almost surreal, Grijalva shared on X, https://x.com/Adelita4AZ, status 1988029540, on Monday, expressing disappointment that her inaugural vote will involve a bill she feels fails to address accessible health care for everyday Americans. Read more here. www.cbsnews.com/news/Adelita Grijalva swearing in House, Arizona, Democrat. 12:33 p.m. Duffy indicates air traffic controllers could receive 70% back pay within 48 hours of shutdown resolution. Transportation Secretary Sean Duffy informed journalists in Wisconsin that air traffic controllers who have endured unpaid periods during the shutdown might receive a substantial portion of their owed back pay shortly after the government resumes operations. Under the terms of this reopening package, our controllers could see payment within 48 hours of government reactivation, though not the full amount, around 70% of what's due, Duffy explained. This would provide them with a significant upfront sum, sparing them from waiting another couple of weeks. Federal regulations on back pay post-shutdown mandate reimbursement as soon as feasible following the end of the appropriations lapse. Air traffic controllers are now facing their second complete missed paycheck on Tuesday. For those unfamiliar, back pay ensures workers get compensated retroactively, preventing long-term financial strain. Think of it as catching up on missed salaries to help families cover rent or groceries. 12:17 p.m., shutdown agreement enables senators to pursue $500,000 lawsuits over unauthorized data seizures, including those tied to Gen 6 investigations. But here's where it gets controversial. A clause in the package designed to terminate the shutdown empowers senators to file lawsuits if federal authorities seize or demand their data without prior notice, potentially awarding up to $500,000 per infraction. The provision, https://www.appropriations.senate.gov/imo/media/lbfy26aconf, seems to equip Republican senators with legal recourse against actions by the Justice Department during Special Counsel Jack Smith's probe into President Trump's activities concerning the 2020 election. In October, Senate Republicans disclosed https://senate.gov/imo/media/legal recourse against actions by www.judiciary.senate.gov/press/rep releases Biden FBI spied on 8 Republican senators as part of Arctic frost investigation, Grassley oversight, reveals. An FBI document indicating investigators accessed phone records from 8 senators and 1 congressman for calls made around the January 6, 2021 Capitol assault. These records were subpoenaed in 2023. The bill mandates that service providers notify Senate offices and the Senate Sergeant-at-Arms of any federal law enforcement requests for senators' data, stipulating that courts cannot postpone such alerts unless the senator is a direct target in a criminal inquiry. Furthermore, it states any senator whose Senate data or the Senate data of whose Senate office has been acquired, subpoenaed, searched, accessed, or disclosed in contravention of this section may initiate a civil lawsuit against the United States if the breach was perpetrated by an official, employee, or agent of the United States or any federal department or agency. Senators could claim $500,000 per breach of notification rules, with the government barred from certain immunities in defense. Lawsuits may be filed up to 5 years after a senator learns of a violation, covering incidents since January 2022. Given the FBI's 2023 review of the senators' records, they could potentially sue under this new law. This provision raises eyebrows. Is it a necessary shield for lawmakers' privacy, or does it unfairly protect elected officials from standard investigations? Critics might argue it tilts the scales, prioritizing political elites over public accountability. Read more here. https www.cbsnews.com/news, government, Senate lawsuits, 500K, January 6. 11:12 a.m. Shutdown deal allocates $203.5 million to strengthen lawmaker security. The Appropriations section of the Senate's funding bundle, addressing congressional activities, allocates $203.5 million to enhance protection for legislators. A measure totals $3.5 billion for House and Senate operations through September 2026, split as $2 billion for the House and $1.5 billion for the Senate, per a Republican overview. https://appropriations/senate.gov/imo/media/doc/FY26 bill summary majority. Each senator's office gains an extra $750,000 for upgraded security measures, encompassing round-the-clock protective security for senators and their residences, regardless of the senator's location, as outlined in an associated intent statement. https://appropriations/senate.gov/imo/media.doc/PDF. Additional resources are allocated to the Senate Sergeant-at-Arms for overseeing security initiatives. The House Sergeant-at-Arms must update 2 House committees on emerging security protocols within 30 days of enactment. The bill assigns $100 million to the House Sergeant-at-Arms for member and family protection. This security enhancement arrives amid rising worries about political violence and escalating threats to lawmakers. The U.S. Capitol Police, responsible for safeguarding the Capitol grounds, is slated to receive $852.2 million through the legislation. 10:38 a.m. Military and veteran families grapple with profound shutdown repercussions. The ongoing shutdown is deeply affecting military and veteran households, coinciding with Veterans Day, on day 42 of the funding hiatus. Kathy Roth-Duquet, founder and CEO of Blue Star Families, discusses the impacts further in the video below. 9:05 a.m. Air traffic controllers to skip second complete paycheck. Air traffic controllers are set to forego their second full paycheck on Tuesday. It's heartbreaking when your kids inquire about family outings, vacations, or extracurriculars like dance or sports, and you can't afford them due to limited funds, Joe Segreto shared with CBS News. Over a month of unpaid status has exacerbated absences in an already overburdened team, with at least 18 sites reporting personnel shortages by Monday evening. Workers will eventually receive retroactive payment. https://www.cbsnews.com/news Federal Workers Back Pay Government Shutdown. Upon shutdown cessation, federal statutes require back pay to be issued at the soonest possible moment after appropriations resume, independent of regular payroll schedules. And this is the part most people miss. These dedicated professionals, who ensure safe skies, are now sacrificing personally. It's a stark reminder of how political gridlock hurts everyday heroes and families. 9 a.m. Fetterman notes Democrats backing shutdown end recognized. This must stop. Democratic Senator John Fetterman, among 3 Democrats who reliably sided with Republicans to conclude the shutdown, believes the additional 7 Democrats endorsing the final agreement grasped, "This has to end." I've consistently opposed shutting down our government from the outset, viewing it as fundamentally wrong, Fetterman remarked on CBS Mornings. In a pre-recorded Monday interview, he elaborated that he feels a collective realization within the caucus led to securing 8 overall votes to break the standoff, needing 5 more, and that's precisely what transpired last night. Fetterman explained his departure from party lines on the shutdown by stating, "We must collaborate with Republicans, given America's decision to place us in the minority." 2 truths coexist: my desire to improve affordability in healthcare via Obamacare, and my conviction that government should never be leveraged as a hostage, irrespective of Republican or Democratic control. It's perpetually unjust, Fetterman added. Read more here. https://cbsnews.com/merc/government shutdown deal healthcare tax credits won't hold government hostage. Updated 8:50 a.m. Trump claims Schumer overreached in shutdown management during a Fox News interview. https://media/Trump argues Schumer made mistake amid Dem leaders' party infighting, broadcast Monday evening. Former President Trump asserted that Senate Minority Leader Chuck Schumer overextended himself regarding the shutdown. He believed he could fracture the Republicans, but instead, the Republicans outmaneuvered him. That's what he presumed, Trump told Laura Ingraham. Trump expressed regret, noting, "I feel sorry for him because I've known Chuck Schumer for a long time." He went on, "I've never witnessed such a drastic transformation in a politician. Moreover, he seems to have lost his former sharpness." Updated 8:50 a.m. House poised for potential vote on government reopening bill by Wednesday afternoon. The House may commence voting on the Senate-approved measure to halt the shutdown as early as 4 p.m. Wednesday, according to House Majority Whip Tom Emmer's communication to colleagues. Expect multiple rounds of voting. Upon passage, it would advance to President Trump's signature. The House has been inactive since September 19th, when members passed the initial continuing resolution intended to avert the shutdown. A continuing resolution is a temporary funding band-aid Congress uses to keep things running while negotiating long-term budgets. Think of it as a placeholder to prevent crises, but when it fails, the shutdown ensues. Updated 8:50 a.m. Senate passes shutdown ending package 60-40, forwarding to House. The Senate endorsed the funding bundle via a 60-40 vote, featuring 8 Democratic members aligning with all but 1 Republican to support the legislation that would terminate the shutdown. This decision occurred on day 41 of the stalemate, following a prior day's agreement and 8 Democrats diverging from their party to clear a crucial procedural barrier. The bill proceeds to the House for ratification. The lower chamber, dormant since September 19th, plans to reassemble by Wednesday. What are your thoughts? Does this shutdown resolution adequately address the needs of affected families? Or does it overlook broader issues like healthcare? And on the controversial data lawsuit provision, is it justified protection or an elitist loophole? Share your opinions in the comments below. We'd love to hear if you agree, disagree, or have a fresh perspective.